Gotta set up my set now. Thank you so much, Lindsay. Oh, so what you guys don't know is that, I hope you can hear me. I'm sure you can hear me, right? We're gonna do a ritual today. So, has anyone ever done the ritual of libation? Okay. My heart is racing because I'm reminded of how generous and filled with love this spirit is, that God is, that life is. And by means of Lindsay this morning, being so willing to learn that song and sing it so beautifully and so heartfelt, it really touches me. I spent this, yeah. During my sabbatical, I did some spring cleaning. I was trying to clean out the energy that I didn't want and bring in the energy that I did want into my home. And I think it's important for all of us to do this at times. And I listened to that song over and over and over again because we are always standing in a presence. And the place in which we stand, no matter where we are, is always holy ground. And they kind of, well, we'll get more into that in a moment, but our theme, our overarching idea this month is that we are in a holy, holy uprising. Everything is rising up to meet us, right? Water rises to meet itself. Energy rises to meet itself. People will rise to meet your expectations. And so there is a collective, sacred rising up that is occurring, and we are at the forefront of that. We're no longer this best kept secret. We think we are. We might look like we are, but there are people in different ways, in different words, sharing and expressing the philosophy of the science of mind, the philosophy of the idea and principle of oneness, of unity, of harmony, of spirituality all over the place. I mean, all you got to do is go on Spotify or YouTube, and it's all over, right? Or wherever else you go, Trader Joe's maybe. And so, in this holy, holy uprising, we are at the forefront of an evolutionary thrust in consciousness, having this philosophy that recognizes self-responsibility, the overarching mind that we all live and move and breathe within. And so today we're going to honor as a spiritual practice. Does that sound okay? Yeah, I can't hear you. What is that? Oh, okay. You guys used to being quiet, huh? You used to not talking to anybody. So I want to start by, Lindsay and I were just talking about that. We're all kind of awkward because we're like, haven't been around people, right? We've always been awkward, but. So this morning, our message is speak their names. Speak their names. And we're going to honor the past, the present, and the future. And I wanted to start by just having you recognize, I don't know if you saw when you walked in, the 6 people who are on the wall. We're going to do a quiz, just so you know. You at home, wherever you are, whatever year this is that you're watching this, you're part of the quiz too. We are part of a lineage of a people. I know that for myself, I don't have a lot of blood family left. And so I think of myself as part of the family of the whole, right? Like the whole, I get to pick my family, but really I pick all of it, everybody. And because nobody gets along with everybody, right? So it's kind of like a sibling thing, right? Okay, so so we've got Ernest Holmes up there, and we have Emma Curtis Hopkins, and we have the lady who's next to Ernest Holmes, I believe, on the other side. She's a Wilcox, and she was one of the 2 sisters who created Divine Science, which is also under the New Thought movement, which is part of what we're under in terms of an umbrella belief system. And she actually gave Ernest Holmes his reverend. I mean, she ordained him a minister. So he was just a philosopher before then. Well, first he was a youth group leader, then a Boy Scout leader, and then a philosopher, and then she ordained him a minister. So that was kind of neat. But I'm gonna say a couple quotes, and I want you to just shout out to me if you know who said it, okay? Because we're gonna honor those who came before us. There is a, I gotta make it harder, okay. No, do that one. You already know it. There's a power and a presence greater than I am, living through me, in me, and all around me. It is loving me and caring for me in ways I could not even imagine. Ernest Holmes, who said that? Oh, John in the back gets a high five. I am seeking my good, and my good is my God, because it draws and pushes and moves me on. Yeah, that's Emma. That's Emma. Anywhere that I am, 100% of spirit must be in full effect and full force. No. True. There you go. Oh, now we can speak our rude truth. Who reminded us to speak that rude truth? And what he meant by that was, truth is truth, right? Truth is truth, and so we got to speak it. And if it doesn't feel good to people sometimes, oh well, right? Emerson. There we go. Anyway, I don't know if you saw the post that we put up, Steve Jobs, the crazy ones. Here's to the crazy ones, the rebels, the outlaws, the round pegs in the square holes. Who's a round peg in a square hole here? Anybody? A couple of us? Yeah, I know, I am too. Oh, John is in the back, John is in the back. And those of us who think differently, right? We've been allowed to think differently because of the people who came before us. I know for myself, my mom, hey Mom, she, how do I say this? I can't really figure out if it's just that I was really rebellious or if she was just really evolved in her parenting, but she allowed me, which other parents I saw did not allow their children to do, she allowed me to speak my own words and have my own beliefs, right? And I was a punk rocker when I was a teenager and an anarchist, anarchy and peace, and I was like all for justice and this and this and this, and she had to hear about it left, right, and up and down. And my grandma, she's like not about it and would want to shut it down. And I thought, how nice is it? How kind is it for my mother to, and I didn't really think about it that much until I had kids and wanted to be like, no, listen to what I have to say. That I remembered my mom said, no, let's hear what you have to say, Nicole. And I really appreciated that. And so I wonder who it is in your life that enabled you to be able to use your words, or maybe what patterns or what beliefs are you still holding on to that are disabling you from speaking your rude truth? It doesn't have to be so rude, but yeah. I know for a lot of us, this idea that we are having a bring a friend to the center day could be a little bit nerve-wracking, or it could make a person nervous, anxious. And I could tell you that it's because, and I know this from being in ministerial school with everyone was older than me, and they all had a hard time with it, and I had a hard time with it, so I know that one of you at least is going to have a hard time with it. Speaking to what this is. We can feel it, right? We can feel it here. But speaking to, how do I tell a person, how do I invite them to my community when it's like, what do I say? We're spiritual but not religious? Are we Christian? What are we? What do we do? What do we believe? Well, this is what I would say. Well, this is what I figured out to say. I say we are a spiritual community that practices and teaches spiritual principles that help us live a healthier, happier life right here and now. And it can be used in conjunction with any religion that you choose. Simple as that. But I will make little invitation cards for you guys to give out in case you forget that. So what I'd like to do now is something called a libation ceremony. And a libation is, it is the act of taking liquid from one vessel of a sort to another. A lot of times it can be from water to a plant, well, have any of you here seen Boys in the Hood? No? Okay. I did ask if we had a can of beer because we used to have a can of beer in the very, very back of the fridge. I don't know. Anyway, there's this movie, if you ever want to learn about popular culture in the 1990s, that's called Boys in the Hood. And they would, when one of their friends would die in a shooting or whatever, they would pour one out for their homies, okay? So they would take beer and pour it out for their homies. That's the same exact thing as what we're going to do here, only it's their own way of, it's what I call like practical spirituality, right? Where you make it your own. And you can use any liquid you choose, but I'm choosing to use water because water is really the center of all life, right? I mean, it is a function, the most important function of biology, I think. And our earth is filled with water, mostly. Our bodies are mostly filled with water. Water can also, I wanted to represent something for you personally, and it can represent any of that, life, God, truth. It could represent, I love thinking of water as like the river, right? Because I'm kind of a boulder sometimes. I like to think and feel like I'm flowing, like I would be willing to just flow around the boulder and flow with the tide, you know? And so you might want to think of yourself as water like that, or like a Daniel Nahmod song, I don't know. But what we do is we pour the water from one thing to another in honor of 3 different things. And this is a participatory experience, so I can't proceed unless you agree. And in order to agree, I invite you to say this word, asai, asai, which means make it so, or so it is, or yes. Asai, yes, okay. And isn't that interesting what it means? Yes. And so this comes from West Africa, but there are many different, the one that we're doing comes from West Africa. There are many, many different versions of this. And so I just want to take a moment and pour a little bit of water in here for those of us who are no longer with us, for the people on which shoulders we stand. Now, whether that be your own ancestors. I did a lot of research into the Welsh ancestry. That's actually where, it's very fascinating, but that I'm 97% Welsh, who would have thought? And I think about their spirituality and I think, I see where I get that from. And then I think about people like Susan B. Anthony or like, why is she the one I always think about? I don't know. She was so brave and strong and gave me the ability to vote, so I guess the freedom is important to me. But I want you to think about your ancestors, your lineage, maybe your parents. Think about your parents and what they have done to support you. Now, whether they've done it by means of being an example of or by means of being the example of what not to do, we can still honor that, right? We say ahai, ahai. And now I want to invite you to honor yourself. So just take a deep breath and ground yourself and close your eyes for a moment. And before we pour this water, I invite you to at least feel into three areas, 3 ways that you are proud of yourself. Something you've overcome, something you're about to endeavor on. Maybe it's a way that you showed kindness when maybe you didn't used to, and so you see that you've grown. And so I'm going to pour a little bit of water for us. Ahai? And so there's just about half left. And this half is for our future. This half is for the unborn ideas within us, the unborn children who are going to learn from all of us. This is for those little ones who are going to someday be, oh man, just amazing, just incredible. And so I know that the work that we're doing here and now, the work that we do in consciousness at our homes, not just here on Sunday, the work we do every day by showing kindness to a stranger, to someone other than us, to a rebellious teenager who had, skittle hairs and a spike collar, and knowing their potential, we'll pour for them. And then we're going to leave just a little bit of water left over because we want to honor those who are going to come into our homes, meaning our space. And what do we do when somebody comes into our home? At the least, we're supposed to offer them a drink, right? Or at least that's what my Nana said. And so I want to leave a little bit for those who are going to come into our world, come into our hearts, come into our minds, come into our lives, that we might have something to offer them. Because I was listening, and I've shared it with a couple of people, but I was listening to, I don't know why I've been into him so much lately, Bishop T.D. Jakes, and there was this sermon he gave about the fact that our word, right, our word does not return to us void, right? The scripture is, well, I can't find it. Who knows the scripture? Goodness. Oh, well. I had to print this out late, so that's okay. Gosh. Well, we know that there's a law of circulation, yes? And it says that whatever we speak out into the world, it comes back to us. And it comes back to us with interest. Yes? Yes. And we say yes, but we got to think about it, because when we speak our words, what words are we speaking? Me and my daughter got into a fight the other day, and 2 days later she goes, "You threatened my life." I'm like, "I did?" And she tells me what I said, and I was like, oh my goodness. But really, it was her perspective, right? So we speak our words, and it does not come back to us void, for sure. But when we speak them with our spiritual authority, knowing that our emotion plus our conscious thought and intention colliding together creates a greater good, this shows us that, like what the bishop was saying, he said, people are fed by their minister, and then they are encouraged. And then the minister goes home and is discouraged because they've supported without, and it's supposed to be a reciprocal experience, right? A reciprocal experience. We support each other. And I know I totally feel that here, so don't think that's what I'm trying to say. But what I am trying to say is that wherever you are fed, wherever you are getting support, recognize them, honor that. Honor those people who are maybe they bug you, but maybe they're calling just to check in, or they send you a card because maybe that's their way of showing their care. And so I just want to invite us to just remember to keep a little bit of water left over, to give back and to give back and to give back, because that's when we receive. And I know that we don't give to receive, but I know that receiving is hard for a lot of us. So we have to honor that as well. So what are we honoring? We're honoring our ancestors. We're honoring the past. We're honoring all of the ways that we were before and are no longer, that we've let go of. We are honoring ourselves and our word. We are honoring that wherever we stand, we are on holy ground. Yes? Yes. Do you believe that you are a holy being? Yes. Do you believe that you are a spiritual being? Yes. Yes. And so wherever you are on holy ground. And I had to remember that over and over and over again when I had to speak to you through that little thing and not see your beautiful faces, because this is a reciprocal experience for me. I feel your energy. I'm here because you're here, right? And when you weren't here, I didn't want to be here either. I wanted to be wherever you are. So thank you for being here, okay? I honor you. I know. Yes, so thank you. I know it can be scary and awkward and feel, to do things, especially since we were forced into something, and now we're like allowed to be not forced into it. And it's like, there's that struggle and push and pull, but isn't that the way that everything is in life? Change is the only consistency, and yet that's the one thing that we all resist, unless it's our choice, right? So let's just honor that divine within each of us. And I want to just move into prayer right now. I'm going to do a 5-step prayer treatment. It's called an affirmative prayer, a spiritual mind treatment, whatever you want to call this thing that we do in this philosophy, where we recognize. You want to say it with me? What do we do? 5 steps. We recognize, unify, realize, give thanksgiving, and release it. Yes. So we recognize the divine within us. No. Teach me, guys. Teach me. We recognize that God is all there is. We recognize that we are one with God. We realize that the divine is all around us and that what we say is so. And then there's nothing else to do but be so grateful and thankful for that, right? And then we got to let it go, release it, and sit, like the dealers do in the casino when they wipe their hands. That's it. We release it, and so it is, right? So I'm just going to speak my word of truth. Catching that feeling, that sensing, that knowing that there is one great good. As Emma says, it is a mighty, mighty good, isn't it? It is in and through and around all things, like a cup, like a glass. It is the inside, it is the outside, the circumference, it is all of it. And it is a beloved power and presence that is not only in us, but it is through us and it is around us. And we can speak to it as I am speaking my word right now. And I know that I am one with this great good that I call God, that I call good. And I know that because every one of us is an emanation of spirit, that each and every person who is hearing my word is bound by the goodness and the energy and the level that is uplifted in it. I know that we live and move and have our being in this glorious good. How exciting that is. And so I speak my word with spiritual conviction, knowing that we are honored as we are honoring. As we recognize that we are living on holy ground right here and now, we cannot help but be raised up. We cannot help but rise up. We cannot help but lift up all those who come in contact with us. We don't even have to say anything. We just have to be. Because we are sacred beings. We are the beloved's beloved. We are the children of the Most High. And we are safe and secure in the arms of that good God. Yes. And for this knowing of truth, this visceral feeling of conviction in my words, I am so grateful. In this coming together in consciousness with every single person who can hear my words, I am so grateful and blessed. And so I can say nothing else but yes, thank you, more please, and so it is. And so it is. Thank you, everybody.